Hello everyone, this is Viswaru. I have an experience of 15 plus years in teaching several programming languages. I have also worked as a programmer for 3 years. In this course, I will cover all the concepts in Java from basic to advanced. If you are new to programming, this course is absolutely suitable for you because in this course I will start from very basic and I will cover all the advanced concepts also. So this is about the course and myself. Now I will give you a short introduction of variables in Java. So what is a variable? A variable is a container or storage. You can also call it a placeholder where we can store data or value which can be used during the execution of our program. So you can use variable for storing data or value, and those data or value that is stored in the variable will be available inside the block or program or method where you have declared it. So it will be available and you can use it throughout your program. Once the program finishes or the scope where the variable is declared, the scope ends, the variable will be also removed from the memory. That's why it is called volatile, because variables are not permanent. They are available only during the program. So one thing you have to remember, if you want to use any variable in Java, you must declare the variable before you can use it. So what is the syntax for declaring a variable? You can declare a variable in the given format. So this is the syntax for declaring a variable. First of all, you have to provide the data type. Then you have to provide a variable name, because the placeholder where the value is stored, the value will be stored. So you need a name to access that particular storage or placeholder. So we'll provide a name for the variable for that. Using that name, we can access the variable in our program. And the third section is for initializing the variable. So you can initialize the variable as well while declaring it. But this is optional. You can declare if it is required while the time of declaration of the variable. Now, for example, if I want to create a variable to store a number of type integer, because integer numbers don't have any fractional value. So for that, in Java, there is a type int. So I will declare a variable. So first, according to the syntax, I have given the data type first, that this variable will store an integer value, and the variable name is num. So this num is the identifier for the variable which is of type integer. Now you can access the variable using the name as num, and now we are storing some value in the variable. So to store the value, we are writing like num equal to 20. That means now the value 20, which is an integer number, will be stored in the variable called num. And finally, in our further program, you can use this num to access the value in your calculations in your program. You can also declare a variable like a, which is of type int, which holds a value. We have also initialized it while declaration. So the value is 35 for a. Now the 35 is stored in a. We have created another variable called b. It is again of type integer, and we are storing 23 to the variable b. So b will hold 23 now. And finally we are creating a variable called c, and we are adding the value of a and b, and the result for a and b after the addition, whatever will be the result, will be assigned back to c. So c will now store the sum of a and b. So this is how we can create or declare variables, or we can manipulate variables. We have some other example. We are creating a variable called num, and while declaring the variable, we are also initializing it with a value of type integer, because the value can hold an integer because we already declared it. In the second example, we are creating multiple value of same type. If you want to create more than one variable of a same type, of a similar type, so you can declare all the variables as a list separated by comma. So we are declaring three variables here of type integer. So a and b are initialized with some values, like a has been initialized by 35, b has been initialized by 23, and c is only declared here. Now we are getting the sum of a and b into c, and finally we can get the sum from c, and we can utilize or use this value further in our program. Java provides several data types, like we already used int type to store integer value. We have several other data types that we can use to declare variables, like we want to store a character. So there is a data type called char, or even it can be pronounced as chat. So it depends. Basically, char is the abbreviation of character. So we call it char. So data type is char, and the variable name is gender. So we want to store gender for a person, or any employee or any student. So that will be a person again. So if you want to store gender, so gender is of one single character, either male or female. So we can use a character variable to store one single character, like we are storing the m here. Now in the second variable, we are storing the age, and age is an integer number. So we are declaring the age as integer here. Then we have the third variable called salary. So if you want to store a salary for a person, so we have named the variable as salary here, and the type of the variable is double, because now we want to store some value with fractional part. So there is decimal places here. So you need a data type like double or float. So we are using double here for storing salary, and this is the value for the salary which will be stored in the salary variable. So wherever we need the salary, we can directly use the salary variable and it will replace the value for the salary. It will return the value that is stored there. In the fourth example, we are creating a variable called is married. So it is basically for the marital status, whether he is married or not. So the value can be either true or false. So if the person is married, so we can store true here. If the person is not married, we can store false here. So is married is a variable which can hold true or false because it is of type boolean. So boolean type allows you to store either true or false. There are only two type of values for boolean type. So is married is false. Now we'll see how these variables are stored in the memory. So for gender, it is of character type. It will occupy some memory space. This is actually the placeholder or the storage, the space that is occupied, and this is actually the variable of type character. So we can store character value here, and we can access this memory location, this storage, the variable by its name, the gender. So gender is the identifier for this variable. Secondly, we have created another variable called age. So it will again occupy some memory in the memory space, and this variable is of type integer. So in this variable we can store integer values, and the data type for this age is integer and the identifier is age. So we can access this value using the identifier in our program. The third example is a variable called salary. So it is again going to allocate some memory, and in this memory, in this block of memory which is allocated for a variable called salary, the variable type is double. So you can store a double value here. So double value can have fractional part, and we can access this value from this memory location using the identifier called salary. Then we have a third variable called is marriage, is married, and this variable is of type boolean. So boolean variable can hold either true or false. So this boolean variable here has been declared, so it allocated some memory for it, and the value that is stored here is false, which we have already assigned during declaring the variable. We have initialized it with a value false, and is marriage is the identifier for this variable. So we can store and retrieve value using this identifier for this variable. So now see, in your program, once you have declared or initialized the value, so you can change the value of again of any variable. So that's why it is called variable, because the value of the variable is changeable. So now I want that the age has to be 32, not 27. So now we are assigning a new value to age, right? So if I store or assign a new value to age, so it will be stored here. So what will actually happen? The previous value, which is already there, will be replaced by the new value, because a variable can store only one value at a time, and now the new value will be assigned here. So now in place of 27, you will get 32 here. So the new value for this variable will be 32. So thank you. So you can start this course. If you don't have any prior knowledge to programming, you can start this course, because everything will be covered from very scratch to advanced level. So this course is absolutely perfect for you if you are new to programming or want to learn Java, as well as if you want to improve your Java knowledge, then also you can enroll in this course. So you are welcome to book a free trial session with me as soon as possible. And if you are satisfied, then you can start with the course. So at the end, this is Vishwarup. I will be your trainer and instructor for this course. Thank you all. Thank you.